Chapter 5 The Monster of Mossy Lake. It was a wonderfully lazy Friday afternoon. Nell Fossey lay in her hammock in the backyard and slowly sipped her lemonade. The cordless phone rang. Doyle and Fossey, she answered. Miss Fossey? Over. Yes? Max Brewster here. Over. Oh, hi, Max. Max was in Nell's class at school. While Nell tended to save wildlife, Max tended to, hunt and eat wildlife. On weekends, Max wore camouflage. He painted his face green and brown and wore a bush on his head. But even though Max and Nell didn't always see eye to eye, Nell couldn't let that get in the way of business. She was a professional. What can I do for you? Code 47, over. Code 47, you say? Nell asked. Copy that, over. Nell sighed. I hate to ask you this, Max, but what exactly is Code 47? It's, and then the voice at the other end seemed at a loss for words. Just take it slow, Max. I've got all day. Roger that. You see, Miss Fossey, this weekend's the Catch a Whopper, Tell No Lies fishing contest. Each day for 3 days, whoever catches the biggest fish is the daily winner, with the grand prize winner being declared on Sunday afternoon. Every year I've won the $500 grand prize. No one else even comes close. I mean, no one. After all, I'm the best outdoorsman on Mossy Lake. Over. So what's the problem? And what's the code for? Like usual today, I caught a whopper. But Mac's voice dropped to a whisper. A monster ate it? Over. What? When Nell heard this, she sat up straight in her hammock. Never sit up straight in a hammock. At least put your foot down first. And put your lemonade down too while you're at it. As Nell lay on the grass, staring up at her hammock, she asked, A monster, you say? Precisely. Code 47. The monster code. Over. Say no more. We'll take the case. Meet you at the lake in 10 minutes. Copy that. Over and out. Click. Nell squeezed a fistful of lemonade from her shirt and immediately dialed Drake. Mossy Lake, 10 minutes. Max met a monster. Code 47. Check. Click. While Nell rode her bike to Mossy Lake, her mind raced. Maybe it's a new species, she thought, living in the murky depths of Mossy Lake for centuries, undiscovered until now. She thought of all the tests she would have to conduct, of all the journal articles she'd have to write. Of course, there would be interviews and public awareness meetings. Max was already there when Nell arrived. Drake arrived shortly after, promptly tipping over a tree root. Anything? He asked, his voice muffled because his face was in the dirt. Nothing yet, replied Nell. She helped Drake up and brushed him off. Then she opened her notebook and removed her pencil from her handy-dandy helmet pencil holder. Take it from the top, Max. Don't spare the gory details, said Drake as he adjusted his glasses and opened his notebook too. At that very moment, a ripple of wind rushed across the water, and a sudden, horrifying thought occurred to Max. What if the monster thought he was a fish? What if the monster suddenly appeared and gobbled him up, and there was nothing left except his boots? Then there would be no winning the contest tomorrow, because if your boots catch a fish, that doesn't count. Acting quickly, Max picked up a few more twigs and branches and added them to the bush on his head. Glad he'd worn camouflage today. He felt bad about Drake and Nell, though. I was fishing with my buddies when I caught a fish. She was this long. No, wait, she was this long. A beauty. Anyway, I reeled her to the shore and showed all my buddies. They knew they were looking at the winner. And then what happened, asked Nell. Just as I was holding up my fish, a monster appeared out of the water. What did it look like, asked Nell. Slimy, horrible, ghastly, all of the above. Said Nell. Said Drake. Can you be more specific, asked Nell. What color was it? Did you have scales, tentacles, arms, and legs? Did it have teeth? Bad breath, maybe? Max scuffed the ground with his boot. I don't know. You see, I dropped everything and ran like crazy. Everyone did. I see, responded Nell, quite surprised. She always figured Max to be a tough guy. And when I came back, my prize fish was gone. I see, Nell said again, glancing at Drake. Indeed, added Drake. Tell you what we'll do, said Nell. We'll just talk to a few people and take a look around. Hopefully we'll spot your monster. In any event, said Drake, expect a report within 24 hours. Make it quick, said Max, adding a few more sticks and twigs to the bush on his head. His eyes peeped out from between the branches. Since I've lost today's contest, I've got to win tomorrow. I've just got to, or else I won't win the grand prize on Sunday. After all, I'm up against a monster. And with that, Max scampered behind a bush and vanished. First, Drake and Al questioned a few folks. It was slimy. It was horrible. It was ghastly. Did you actually see it eating any fish? Drake asked. No. Drake and Al took notes, frowning because the answers were all the same. No one had seen what happened to Max's whopper of a fish. Like Max, they were too busy, running. By the time Drake and Al finished questioning witnesses and scouting around, it was past supper time. They hadn't found much, just an old tire and a few empty pop cans. All in all, their investigation was going nowhere. Nothing, said Nell. Disappointed, put the pop cans in her bike basket for recycling. Maybe tomorrow my dad can bring our boat, Drake suggested. Good idea. If the monster's out there, we'll find it. 5:30 a.m., rain or shine. Check. Then just as Nell was about to ride off into the sunset, she saw something. Detective Doyle! Wait, I think I found a clue. 4 small plastic hoses snaked out of the water. Follow those hoses. Nell took out her magnifying glasses. The hoses traveled away from the water and disappeared into some bushes. Nell pushed the branches aside and scrambled through. The hoses end here, she said, puzzled. And not only that, added Drake, tipping through the bushes behind her, but the end of each hose is plugged with a cork. Said Nell, thinking. I have a hunch those hoses might hold our answer. But how? She picked up one of the hoses and pulled the cork. First, she stuck the end of the hose in her ear and listened. Nothing. She scratched it, tapped it, peered into it, bent it, stretched it, and finally blew into it. Gently at first, then harder and harder. It was rather like blowing up a balloon. Drake grabbed the hose closest to him and followed Nell's example. They blew and blew. Suddenly, in the middle of the lake, a monster appeared.